Hey friends, the film sets in the future when some mysterious beasts appear from nowhere and start trying to wipe out all traces of humans from the planet Earth. That is, an apocalypse kill on the Earth has occurred due to the infection of some insect or due to some intoxicating plant, or God has demolished the human being. Eight's asset is punished for his sins, but no one knows the real truth clearly. In such a condition, a man called Paul is shown who is searching for a girl to fulfill his hormonal desire things in his town. Unexpectedly, sirens start ringing, tin and screams are heard everywhere. Bombings are also heard. He instantly runs outside and hides everywhere, somehow organizes to stay away from the roads. There is panic everywhere in the city, smoke has circulated. Paul reaches an old house away from the city, but he has kept his two little children safe. After 15 years, both of Paul's children have grown up. One's character is Thomas, the other's character is Joseph. During the day, he goes from place to place and collects the things he needs. Now as shortly as evening, when it gets dim, they come home and close all the windows and doors. Paul also yells his pet dog Rocco inside. In reality, no one goes out here after dark, and today Paul's son Thomas was very late in coming. When this occurs, Paul scolds him, but Thomas tells him that he was just helping the neighbors. In fact, friends, there lives a family of a sexy lady called Rose in their neighborhood who also has a farm. Thomas interferes in their work. Now at the moment of dinner, Paul again scolds Thomas that next time you come late, it will not be good, I will throw you out of the door forever. Now Joseph confronts his brother Thomas on this case, so there is an argument between them. After some time this argument comes to a stop. Paul then separates both of them and says that you are humans, act like humans. Then both the brothers start playing chess, then Rocco begins barking strangely, bow bow bow, and tells them to stop. Realizing that something bad is about to transpire, Paul and Thomas go downstairs and find that someone is banging on the door. Really, they are some mysterious creatures attempting to come inside. Both of them together hold the door, but those creatures do not stop banging. But after some moment they give up and go away. Directly Thomas gets angry at Joseph that why didn't you come to help us? Joseph says hey, I was attempting to understand those creatures. Actually first they unlocked the door for 10 seconds. Next time he beat for 20 seconds, but last time he beat for only 1 second. He tells that by clanging the door for the first time he tests whether it can be broken or not, and next time he really tries to break, and when he cannot break it when they find it, they get dissatisfied and try for the last second and then go away in irritation. Now the following day they see that there are claw marks of creatures on the door and the door is totally damaged. To cover the broken places, they discover some wood and bring it back. Thomas begins cutting wood, and then Paul sees that Joseph is trying to build something else, but Joseph does not tell Paul anything, but when Paul insists on it, he informs Joseph that he is trying to build a car because he does not want to live in fear at one place. Seeing his son's efforts, Paul gets impressed and makes some modifications in the car, due to which the car starts running. Now Paul teaches his two sons to drive a car. All three of them wander around, and when they come residence, Paul says that the windows have also become weak and they will also have to be repaired. For this, some things are going to be required which are in that old ship standing near the river. But Thomas doesn't want to go there anymore because he wants to go to Rose's farm and work. Paul says, look Thomas, the wood is more significant and I can't send Joseph alone to help him. You will also have to go with me. On the way, Thomas contends a lot with Joseph, then Joseph says that I do not need your protection, you go from here, and what else did Thomas requirement? He gets down near the farm and Joseph is alone. Goes near the river. Here Paul is sitting near the waterfall after repairing the door and smoking, then he sees a black pit among the stones. On the other hand, Joseph goes near the river and ties himself to the car and goes to the boat of an old ship. He goes inside where he might get some significant things, and inside a locker he finds an obscene poster, seeing which Joseph gets shocked. Unexpectedly, thousands of insects come out of the garbage bin. Somehow he escapes from them and comes out. There Thomas and Charlotte have a strong crush on each other. Both of them go out for a walk on the farm. Charlotte notifies that in childhood, her parents they used to forbid me to go too far, but now I want to play freely. Friends, she has come up with a trick. She relations herself to a tree so that she can run some distance and also knows that she is out of her limits. She is not going. Then when the time comes for Thomas to leave, Charlotte gets sad and hugs his chest. Now the evening begins to set, so Thomas runs towards the house. There they show Joseph's car does not start. She gets scared again and again. He attempts again and again and finally it starts. Thomas also accidentally falls into a pit while running. Meanwhile Joseph comes to the farm to pick up Thomas, but after not discovering him there, he himself comes home. Hero tells Paul that Thomas didn't want to come with him and goes down to the farm. Now Paul locks him in the house and goes to find Thomas with Rocco. Thomas falls into a pit. Thomas lights his lighter and sees a dreadful creature in one of the holes. The one who is extending his hand towards him makes a strange sound which Paul hears. Thomas also takes out his knife and thrusts it into the creature's hand, due to which the animal puts his hand inside, but in the meanwhile another creature appears from above and Thomas. He grabs the creature's head and Thomas is incapable to breathe, but at the last moment, Paul arrives and kills the creature. Then Paul and Rocco find a tunnel so that it can reach inside the pit, but at this time, if it can escape from here. Even if they come out, it is not safe to run through the forest and reach home. They decide to stay here till morning and block the entrance of the pit. At the exact time, they also hear the sounds of creatures coming out of the hole and coming towards the pit. Now these people burn their flats and then the ground starts shaking because these creatures live underground. They are attempting to trap them inside by blocking the exit of the pit with soil. Meanwhile, stop barking. It doesn't close and now a hole is forming in the ground through which the creatures are going to come. Paul notifies Thomas and Rocco to go back and throws one of his flares in that hole, but those creatures try to catch Paul. But Paul causes an explosion in which he himself gets extremely injured. Here at home, Joseph hears the voices of the creatures and he makes a plan. After some time, he is sleeping sitting on a chair and there is a rope on the chair. When Joseph is tied, this creature removes the wood of the door and puts his hand inside and checks with his long nails whether he is really sleeping or not, and when Joseph does not move at all, the creature comes inside and then reveals himself. Joseph was not sleeping, but he had laid a trap for the creature. As he pulled the key, a cage fell on the floor, inside which the creature was trapped. Now Joseph becomes very happy that he did such a wise thing that he placed the cage in a trap. Covering himself with a cloth, he sleeps comfortably, but if Paul and Thomas do not arrive till the next morning, he gets worried and he instantly takes the car. Goes out in search of them. Here Thomas manages to get out by removing the mud and also brings out his injured father Paul. Meanwhile, hearing the sound of the automobile, Rocco goes to Joseph and takes him to Paul and Thomas. Then they bring Paul home. When Thomas removes the cloth from the cage, the creature starts screaming. Jazz then puts his cloth on and tells Thomas that these creatures do not appreciate light. The heroes bandage Paul's ointment as It is said that last night this creature had entered the house in 8 seconds. Until now he has the record because he could never come inside so fast. Not only this, there was another creature too which due to coming inside went away from here. There is a modification in the behavior of the creatures which is not a good thing. Thomas tells that perhaps these creatures have become intelligent because last night we killed some creatures in a pit and perhaps this creature might have come to take vengeance. On this Joseph says, "Look, I don't think that you and Papa together would have destroyed those creatures. Papa would have done the real work. You would have just stood there like this." I know that Thomas also gets irritated and goes to kill the creature in the cage. Joseph stops him because he wants to research the creature, and during their fight, the cage gets opened and the creature comes out and hides under the bed. Then when Rocco barks at him, he starts attacking him, but Joseph clasps him tightly. And Thomas cuts the creature, but Joseph wants to know more about it. He takes its body to his shed and starts slashing it there, but he doesn't understand anything. Thomas wants to take Paul to Charlotte's house because he has medicine. At first Joseph does not approve because he does not think that he will help them, but Thomas urges that he will help. Then he agrees and jointly they take Paul to Rose's farm. But as Joseph, it was said that Charlotte's mother, i.e. Rose, says that we have very little medicines and Paul is so injured that we will not be able to get him treated here. Charlotte attempts to convince her parents by all means that please agree, but he still doesn't agree. Yes, but he definitely says that we can certainly keep Thomas with us, but he tells Joseph that you should take your father home. Whatever is there now belongs only to both of you. Hearing this, Joseph, he gets uncomfortable and goes away. When Thomas goes after him, Joseph blames him that because of you, Papa is going to die and you have become so selfish that you want to live with people and not with us. On this, Thomas gets angry at Joseph, begins strangulating him, and when he realizes what madness he is doing, he instantly removes his hand. Now Joseph takes his unconscious father and leaves in his car. Thomas starts living comfortably here with the Rose family. He gets very good food here, so Charlotte shows him her things which Thomas had never seen. Then there is a hormonal romance between them, but in between, Charlotte's father goes there. Joseph sees that there are heaps of mud lying everywhere. This means that the creatures are excavating the soil and painting it in the underground. Seeing the soil near the house, Joseph gets scared that there must be creatures under the house. Then he makes Paul lie down at a place and goes into his room. He makes a great plan, and from there he compiles things and starts blocking the windows and doors. At one point, he steps on the carpet and falls inside, meaning the creatures have already penetrated the house. There Charlotte sees Thomas searching for something in the kitchen. Still worried about his daddy and Joseph, he requests Charlotte that I need medicine for my father, please give it to Thomas. Thomas hugs him and promises that he will absolutely return, but in the meantime Thomas's father arrives and Thomas starts running away, but the people working outside in the farm point guns at him. That you have stolen in the house? Thomas clarifies to him that no, you have not stolen. Charlotte herself has given me this medicine, but he does not acknowledge it and calls all his men, and together they tie Thomas at one place. And they start playing loud music so that no one knows what they are doing to Thomas. They hold Thomas's legs tightly and one of the men is about to detonate him, but in the meantime a crater is formed in the ground. And Thomas is inside it. This is how he was protected from the bullet. Some men go inside the pit searching for him, and then a creature comes out of the pit. Now hearing the sound, Charlotte's originator goes with a candle to check when suddenly the creature enters the room and attacks her. The candle falls down, causing the room to catch fire. Now the creature leaves Charlotte's father and attacks Charlotte's mama, but the father catches the creature and pulls her away and Charlotte's mother. She runs to find Charlotte, but the creature attacks her and vomits a poisonous substance on her. When the scary noises stop, Charlotte comes out of her room and discovers her parents at the hands of the creatures. She switches on screaming Maud after seeing the disgusting death. On the other hand, the men at the farm are attacked by the creatures. They battle the creatures but are killed one by one. Some people run away, but even more creatures emerge from underground. They finish their work and the place catches fire, during which Thomas organizes to free himself, but the problem is that a creature sees him and before he can strike Thomas, Charlotte shoots him. But now Charlotte's house had burned down and even her parents are no longer there, so they leave for Thomas's house, where they show it to Joseph. Then he lays to rest the furniture in the pit. Then he kisses his father's forehead. He formulates to fight them. Meanwhile, Thomas and Charlotte arrive there. Joseph also takes them inside because he will also require their help. He gives medicine to Paul and he tells him to stop fighting these creatures no matter what. "Don't do it, son." Now Joseph clarifies his plan to them. They collect all the fuel cans from Shard. Meanwhile, Ro barks to alert them that threat is approaching. Then they bring an old freezer inside the house. Thomas and Charlotte puts wood and nails on every window to keep it strong. Just like she pours petrol on a pile of furniture, she puts some explosives on it which she establishes in the shed and then lights her father's cigarette and places it on top. Suddenly, a pile of furniture starts up to shake. On the other hand, a creature comes down through the chimney into Paul's room. Another creature comes from the pit, but when he traverses the door, Thomas stabs him from behind. The creature immediately kills him. But in the meantime, Thomas takes Chow back out and kills him, this time by hitting him right on the head, but another animal comes behind Charlotte, but she shoots him. Now Thomas, Charlotte and Joseph all three work together to remove the freezer. Suddenly the door opens and Paul is standing there, covered in blood because he destroyed the creatures that came from the chimney. Paul takes Charlotte's gun and shoots it at the floor, killing all the creatures below, but there are a large number of them. They reach the corridor and come running towards Paul. Now Paul kicks the first creature, due to which the floor begins shaking. Then due to their weight, most of the creatures fall down from the floor, some even escape. They leave, but Thomas and Charlotte shoot them. Now the three children and Rocco run to the freezer, but rather of running after them, Paul closes the door so that all three get time to escape from the creature. All three hide inside the freezer. Here Paul remembers the day when his two sons, they were little, and he hugged both of them and said, "I will always keep you safe." Meanwhile, another group of creatures arrives there. Meanwhile, a pile of furniture explodes and starts rolling, and after a long time, when it stops, all three come out. Charlotte arrived and shoots him, but nothing happens to him, so when he comes closer Charlotte shoots him with her gun, and after driving a few miles they stop at a place where they witness stars. They had never seen stars before because in the evening, they get confined to their homes due to the fear of creatures. Following morning, when they return home, they decide that they will not rebuild this house again. They take some significant things and then bury their parents and bid them goodbye. Saying this, they get ready to go to a distinct place, and with this film terminates here. Bye bye friends, hope you like the movie.